It is Friday, May 10th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends over at Factors. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. We're going to start off with a tip of the cap to all the amazing moms out there. That is our tip of the cap. Take care of the special ladies in your life, whether it's your mom, whether it's your wife, whether it's at someone special who is a mother. Let's do you should be treating them like a queen 365, but this weekend, please put everything else on hold for them.
Yeah, and I always say, if you have a wife, just let her do whatever she wants to do. It's not necessarily about like, hey, let's spend time as a family together or like extravagant gifts. Like, just give her the gift of like, hey, honey, do whatever you want to do today. I think that's always the best thing. But yes, shout out to all the moms. I love moms, Chris. They're always full of love. And no matter what you do, like, they love you. I don't think dads are like that. I think dads sometimes are really disappointed in their kids, but moms are never that way. Is that true?
I don't know if I would necessarily agree with that. I think that's a very...
You don't think moms are more loving than dads?
I don't necessarily think that 100%. I don't know.
I think that 100%. Maybe that's just me and my relationships with my parents and my own parenting.
Yes.
Although, I love my kids unconditionally too.
Yes, you do. Don't sell yourself short. I think
you do too.
Probably a little bit of an old school thought, like a stereotypical sitcoms from the 60s and 70s. But I think we have changed so much as a society, and roles are not defined.
So you're saying dads have gotten soft nowadays. I get it. Okay.
And I think that's actually a positive stance. I really do. I think that in some cases it's very positive. In other cases might not be, but I think in some cases it is. But this is all about the moms this weekend. So I want to hear great stories from everybody come Monday about how wonderful the weekend was for mom.
I'll be at the beach.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. That's just to show off that you've been working out and take your shirt off.
Oh, I don't know if it's going to be like a shirt-off beach day, but we'll see.
That will be. Yeah, it will be for you.
Okay.
Shady Rays on and shirt off.
All
right, we're going to start this show out west. Padres, they've played the Dodgers over in South Korea. They've played them in Los Angeles, and finally they get them in their crib this weekend. Meanwhile, the defending National League champion Diamondbacks, they have won 4 in a row for the first time this season as they hit the Charm City, take on the Baltimore Orioles. Do you think that both San Diego and Arizona are going to make the postseason this year? Because they've kind of been so far through the first quarter of the year.
So if you're going through the teams that I think are going to be in the postseason, I think Philadelphia and Atlanta are going to be in the postseason. I think the Dodgers are going to be in the postseason. Someone's going to win the Central, whether that's Milwaukee, Chicago, maybe the Pirates. Now that Paul Skenes is getting called up. Probably not, though. So it really leaves 2 spots for Padres, Arizona, and then whoever's second in the NL Central, or the Mets. Mets could be definitely in play in this. So to answer your question, I think only one of them will get in. And I know the Padres have kind of been hot, and they've been – I really like watching them right now. But if I'm picking between both of those teams, I'm going to go with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I don't really have a great reason why. To be honest with you, I don't, Chris. I think it's really early to really see where teams are going to be at the end of the year. But my thought process behind this is I think there's still a lot of room for growth in the Diamondbacks lineup. I think they're going to – I think Carroll's going to figure it out and get going. I like their pitching staff better than I like the Padres pitching staff. And with the Padres, they've been being kept afloat by guys like Jerkson Profar, Jackson Merrill. I don't know if they're going to keep that up all year long. So that means Tatis needs to get it going. Machado's got to get it going. And then when they do, are those other guys going to be performing at the same clip? Because that's how you start to throw together, a bunch of victories, is when you have your main guys doing it and your auxiliary players as well doing it. It seems like they're not really going to line those up. I don't know. We'll see. Again, I don't have a great reason. If I'm picking between one of the two, Arizona and the Padres, though, I'm gonna pick Arizona.
Yeah, I would agree with that, although I don't think I had the Diamondbacks making the playoffs before the season started. But based on where we are, almost 25% of the way through the season, Jordan Montgomery still kind of working his way back, but he pitched his best game of the year this week in Cincinnati, with 7 strong. Paul Sewald just got activated, just got his first save of the season. Eduardo Rodriguez, we kind of forgot about him, right?
He's coming.
He's probably I'm going to guess he's 4 to 6 weeks away with the way that they're telling the stories. He's going to start a throwing program next week, and so that puts him between a month and a half. So we'll see there. So I feel better about that team. I hope that Corbin Carroll's not injured. Like we talked about it before, that ever since he kind of re-aggravated that shoulder issue, which cost him time a few years ago, his numbers just haven't been good. He had a 5 RBI game this week in Cincinnati, but that's like 5 of his 12 RBIs this season. It just hasn't been a good year. I hope he's okay, and it just is that he's working on some mechanical stuff. With San Diego, you mentioned the big three, and I remember the first question we asked this year when the Padres and Dodgers played. We said which big three at the top of the lineup was more important for their squad. We both felt it was San Diego because we felt like there were enough guys in LA's lineup to help carry the water for the rest of the year. Tatis has a sub 800 OPS. Machado has a sub 700. Bogart's a sub 600. That ain't going to get it done. Now, I was on a San Diego radio station with my buddy Scott Kaplan yesterday, and he asked me, hey, at what point do we say these are who these guys are? And I said, I can't do it yet. I can't, even though they were all crappy last year, for the most part, by their standards, I can't do it yet. So I think I like Arizona more than San Diego, but I think that San Diego's got a real shot. And if they get in, I think they could be the scariest of them all.
Interesting. I always like to mention playoff odds, DraftKings odds. So right now, Arizona to make the playoffs is plus 125, meaning they're leaning no. That's minus 145. For the Padres, they're yes plus 170, no minus 200. So that means DraftKings believes Arizona has a better chance. If you go to FanGraphs, it's actually the opposite. Padres 51.5% to make the playoffs. The Diamondbacks only 36 2/3. So everyone, we don't really know. Wow. At this point in the season, we're not sure.
There was a real interesting column, I think it was by Dennis Lin in The Athletic, saying that AJ Preller, he doesn't think he's done, and his next move could be for a big name starting pitcher. He could go get him.
He already did. Didn't he already do that?
Yeah, I mean, he's done it. He's traded for one of the best available starters right before the year.
So who's that? Who's he going to be?
I mean, we don't know.
Trevor Williams of the Nationals.
Right. So let me take back big name, but a guy that can certainly help them. I mean, Joe Musgrove has not been good, and he's not been healthy, and now he's on the injured list with the elbow issue. So we'll see. I think both those teams are fascinating, though.
I do, too. And again, there's so much baseball to be played. There's so much roster movement that's going to happen. By the time we get to the point where we can really lock down and say, okay, this is the team, we'll probably have a different opinion at that time. How about this Mason Miller trade discussion that's going on right now?
Didn't he, how much service time does he have?
I don't care. If I am a team, I am going after this guy. I don't care that he's a reliever. I don't care the prospects you're going to have to give up. Go get this guy.
Okay. Meanwhile, let's move cross country out east. A couple of big series involving New York teams. The Mets play host to the Atlanta Braves. The Yankees are in Tampa. More interesting series between those two is?
I do like both the series. I'm going to go with the Yankees-Rays. Last year, Tampa was 8-5 against the Yankees. They seem to always be like a thorn in the Yankees' side. At times, obviously better than them as well. They played one series already. Tampa Bay lost that series. They won one game, lost two. But they're kind of on a heater right now. They started wearing those jerseys, and I know it's against the White Sox. White Sox won the last game, but they're playing better baseball. They're finally back to 500. Yankees have been playing great baseball. Took the series against the Astros. Soto's doing Soto things. Stanton's hitting balls 120 miles an hour. I think we're seeing some of the best baseball being played by the Yankees. And finally, the Rays have kind of caught up. They're playing some of their best baseball. And those two teams, especially at the Trop, it's always just an interesting game to me because you're going to have a bunch of Yankees fans there. But there's just something about the Trop that when you play Tampa there, it's just different. So I like that series. It really seems like David and Goliath to me. And we know who won that matchup. Do you?
I thought it was a tie. Wasn't it a split decision? Went to the judges' scorecards?
Maybe. A weird fable, by the way.
First game I ever covered at the Trop was a Yankees-Rays Fox Saturday baseball game. So it probably was right around 2010 or something like that. and CC Sabathia took a no-hitter like into the 7th or 8th, and his old catcher in Cleveland, Kelly Shopik. I don't know if you remember Kelly
Shopik. That's yep.
Yeah, he broke up the no-hitter against his buddy, and he gets to first base and like gives him a little snarl. So that was fun. I'll be curious to see how many times. It's a 3-game series. The over-under is 1.5 of times we see the City Connect jerseys on Tampa Bay.
They ran them till they lost, so I think they should keep them. I think those are so, like I've said this before. I think on the show, like I think their uniforms are some of the most boring uniforms in all of baseball. Like, and this one clearly is not.
Right.
It kind of like fits their personality better, right?
I think because if the lights went out in the Trop, you could still
which
see.
They might.
Yeah, they might. They might. I'm going to go with, obviously, the reason I'm wearing the Mets cap is because it's not just this series. After the Braves, the Phillies come in. It's a weird split 4-game set. The first 2 games are at Citi Field next week. Then Wednesday, Thursday are at the Bank. So this is a big time for the Mets, who have just kind of been treading water. They've just kind of been – I think they're trying to be steady until, they get some of their pitching back. Some of their guys start playing a little bit better. I think this will be a fascinating weekend because Christian Scott is going to make his home debut. His Major League debut was against Tampa last weekend down in St. Pete. Also, is this the weekend where Acuna and Riley continue to get it going in May because they're off to a nice start? And more importantly, is this the weekend that Matt Olson wakes up from his 5-week slumber? I don't know what's gone on with him this week, but he does have over a 1 dot in 18 career games at Citi Field, and that includes 5 homers. So maybe this is the weekend where things start getting going. So it's not just the Mets I'm watching. It's the Mets and the Braves.
I like that. Again, Mets at 500, trying to get above there. I have a question for you. This goes back to mine. I wanted to bring this up, and I forgot to on my portion of this. Over under 0.5 times benches clear in Tampa and New York. Now, you remember Jose Caballero is a Ray.
Right.
Testy. Jose Siri. Been in some beef already. Over under 0.5.
So who's pitching this weekend? Do you have pitching matchups up?
The first game is Taj Bradley and Clark Schmidt, and then I think it's Nestor Cortez and Littell, and I don't know who it is on Sunday.
All right. I like the feistiness in this series. I think that's good. You know what? I'm going to go over.
I think so too. I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I think we have a stoppage in play somewhere.
If Garrett Cole was pitching, 100% over. He's not pitching people.
And once again, I don't want it to be like guys getting thrown at or something, but there could be something interesting. I like that. I like where your head's at.
Yeah.
Okay, so I woke up really early this morning, had to take Sydney out. She had to go to the bathroom, right? Go back, try to get a little more Z's because everybody in the house is sleeping. And about 8:30, I hear the barking. And you know what that is? That's Sydney saying, "Pops, give me my damn food that I love." That's right. When your dog talks to you, it's time to make an investment in them. The Farmer's Dog. It is developed by vets, made from real fresh meat and veggies, portioned specifically for your dog, and delivered right to your door. It takes care of all their nutritional needs, no matter whether they're just a young pup or kind of an old dog out there. It's smart, healthy pet food that you can feel good about feeding your 4-legged friend. It's the best option for dogs of all stages of life. There's no kibble. There's none of that canned goop that stinks. It's just real healthy food. A fresh diet has been found to help all sorts of benefits, from healthier coat and skin to better breath. And believe me, as much as we love our dogs, sometimes they do they pant on you and you're like, damn, there is fire coming out of that. Like you're an old sports writer that covered the Red Sox for the Boston Globe. It's just heat coming out of there. It also helps with our digestion, helps with better poops. I know you're like, oh, better poop. So that's a big thing for doggies out there. So a healthy diet isn't just important for us as humans. It's important for your fur babies too. And, it doesn't matter if your dog is old or young. It takes 5 minutes when you head on over to thefarmersdog.com to fill out a little questionnaire. It talks about that breed, the age of your dog, how much exercise it gets, how much it usually eats. Well, guess what? You head on over to thefarmersdog.com, /today, you're going to get 50% off your first box. Plus, you get free shipping, which is a big deal because it ain't no tiny shoe box. This is a big old square that's coming your direction. Once again, head on over to thefarmersdog.com/today. Get half off that first box because at the end of the day, you want your dog looking up at you and saying, "Rah-rah-roo, Larry. Rah-rah-roo." And you will.
What is that? What can you translate? I love you, Daddy?
Yeah. I love you, Dad. You don't speak doggies?
Well, it's Mother's Day this weekend.
But still, you can say that with a "Rah-rah-roo, Mommy."
There you go. Thank you.
All right, All Eyes Saturday going to be on Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Paul Skenes makes his major league debut against a division rival in the Chicago Cubs. First of all, before I get to the question, baseball doing its job. They are going to put the game on MLB Network, so that means it's semi on national TV. And apparently all the games are free this weekend. I don't know if that means that there's still blackout restrictions.
I saw that all the games were free this week. I was like, what is going on? Maybe they listen to our show, Chris.
I think that's probably what it is. So
yeah,
baseball,
Chris Rose, he's a smart guy.
Yeah. So let's I'll give them a little applause, like golf clap for you guys. Nice work. Or snaps around here at John Boy Media. Let's get back to the bigger question. How's this debut play out?
I think it's going to be pretty good. I do. I think he gets the loss, though. I'm going to give you the whole box score right now. Okay, he's going up against Justin Steele, right? Yeah. Justin Steele's going to be like, hey, dog, like you did a good job in the minor leagues and in college, and like you're going to be a pretty good pitcher, but like I'm a guy. Like I've already proven myself. So I think that the Cubs are going to win this game 2-0. I think Justin Steele is going to go like 7 innings, shutout ball, like really do his thing, maybe even 8 innings pitched and do his thing. And Skenes is going to look really good. I think he's going to go 5 innings pitched. I think he's going to K 8 people.
Okay.
But I think he's going to give up 2 solo homers. I think Christian Morel is going to pump him, and I think Ian Happ's going to pump him. So 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, both solo homers. I think we might see a couple walks from him as he feels a little shaky, but then he settles down, ends up K'ing 8 people. So like a very nice start to Paul Skenes' career, but a loss because Justin Steele establishes dominance from the get-go.
Yeah, I don't think he qualifies for the win because I don't think he's going to get through 5 with a lead. But I think I like your call on this. I think he'll be so amped up that he could be a little bit all over the place. I'd like to see him strike out 5 or 6 Cubs. I think that'll be fun. I know that place will be rocking. I hope it's sold out. I have not seen. I know the secondary ticket market has been pretty high. So Pirates fans, let's go out there and support. I mean, you guys are getting a shot on national TV and around the baseball globe. Let's show everybody what you're made of. Over under on number of shots of Livy Dunn will be 3.5.
I'm taking the under.
Under?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, I don't know why would they show her? It's his day. I get why they would show her, but it's like I think they'd be more focused on the game.
They are going to be more focused on the game. I didn't say that the over under was 97.5.
Even like Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl only got shown like once or twice.
So there will be a shot of her when he like runs out because she'll be sitting with the family. So you'll see that.
Oh, okay. That's the loophole there. You're right.
After the first strikeout.
You're totally I'm going over. I'm going over because of the family aspect. You're totally right.
Yeah.
And they won't be sitting in a box. They'll be outside.
Totally.
Okay. Yeah, they'll show.
They're going to be there front and center.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you got to use this for what it is, right? I mean, she is a social media darling and very famous in the sporting world.
I do think he's going to pitch well. But he's going to be nervous. So I think that's going to be my favorite thing to watch, or the thing I'll watch the most is first inning. I just want to see how he reacts in the first inning because I know how it feels to make a debut, and obviously my debut didn't have as much hoopla as his is going to have. But there's just, especially in Wrigley, like he's going to have some feels, man. Home. It's going to be cool to watch. I'm excited for him.
It's at home.
Oh, it's in Pittsburgh. That's right.
Yeah. But still, he'll be nervous.
Yes.
I'm rooting for him. I hope we get a Strasburg-type game. I think it'd be awesome. It'd be great for the sport. Regardless, we'll be talking about it on Monday's show.
Maybe they will be in a suite then. Then I'll take the under.
You think they'll be in a suite?
I don't know. Who knows what they're doing? Paul Skenes got a lot of money, bro.
Oh, I know. I think they want them outside.
Okay.
That's what I think. Sorry, Reds. Man, oh man, they're taking an 8-game losing streak out west. Start a series in San Francisco tonight. So they just got whooped at home, 6 straight against the O's and the Diamondbacks, where their bats barely woke up. Here's David Bell after Thursday's loss.
Came up short today. We're getting closer and closer, and as long as we're continuing to have the effort and play hard and work hard and do the things that are important to us, like we talk about when everything is going perfect, we'll get to where we need to be in the end.
Is that good enough to hear out of your manager?
I mean, to the media, yeah. Like, if this guy would have came and blown everybody up and said, "Hey, in the last 7 games, the most runs we scored is 4, and so-and-so's not doing his job, and so-and-so's not doing his job," we'd be on here being like, "Hey, man, keep that behind closed doors and talk to your players." To the media, I have no problem with what he's saying. I mean, look, every once in a while we want some candor, but what do we expect him to say here? It is May 10th. There is a lot of baseball left. And are they playing bad right now? Yeah, like their offense has just not been there this year. We talked about that, I believe, like a couple of shows ago about the starting pitching has actually been good, but the offense just hasn't showed up. They made some base running mistakes as well in the series. So it's like, those are the things you don't like, but I don't expect him to come on and blow people up. Now, I saw that social media clip and I read a lot of the comments. A lot of Reds fans are saying, like, this guy, like, get him out of here. He can't manage all this. But, like, what do we expect a manager to say in a situation like that? I don't think he's like that in the clubhouse. He probably is having talks, whether it's to his coaches. Coaches are going to the guys, or if he's going up personally, they probably had some sort of meetings going on there. They understand, like, where they're at in the standings, and things can snowball for you. But we can also see, like, do you remember what happened to him in the middle of the season last year when they went on a freaking massive run? Like, there still is time for them to do that. So I don't expect him to come blow people up right now.
At 16-21, they have the same 37-game mark as a year ago. Here's the thing, is that David Bell, like, doesn't he have the most ejections of any manager since he came into the league? Like, I think maybe that people want to see a little more fire out of him. I know that fans – let's play this out. Let's say he had sat down and said, offensively, we got to be better. We just have to be better. Like, I know the guys are trying, and that's what I like. I like the process. I like where our head's at, but we know this. We've all played this game. I've been around it for decades. The players have done – we have to be better. Now – If you hear that as a Reds fan, you feel like there's a little more immediacy to it and that it bothers you as much as it bothers us as fans. Now, having covered the game for 3 decades, I know that this bothers the shit out of David Bell.
Sure.
He just seems a little like comatose there and calm. But if you hear that as a player and he's not individually calling you guys out, but the collective group, you can live with that, can't you?
100%. Yes, of course. And you know that as a team that you're struggling and you need to figure things out. It's like, you don't need your manager to tell you that. It does feel a little different when it comes out of his mouth, for sure. That's a statement right there. I didn't know he was from Cincinnati. That gets me going a little bit. And look, I think we have to realize he's 51 years old. He's part of, like, the old school baseball mentality when back in the day, it was almost faux pas to share anything with the media. Everything was behind closed doors. You said the bare minimum to the media. He's still of that ilk. Some of the newer managers we'll get understand, the power of social media, and they use it correctly. Look at Aaron Boone. I mean, he comes on our network and does a show and is very candid when he comes on. So there are guys that understand that, but there's a lot of them that are still very old school that don't want to share anything because to him, he'd rather be getting blown up on Twitter than having his clubhouse a mess because he went out and said some stuff to the media. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. I totally get it. I think that there's a real delicate dance that managers have to do because in today's day and age, unlike 15 years ago or 20 years ago, they have to meet with the media before and after games. Usually it was just after the game. Hey, what happened? Blah, 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 blah. Now it's We need updates on everybody's health situation. And what are you thinking about?
Oh.
So you're talking twice a day, which doesn't seem like much, but it's more wear and tear on guys. But I don't know. I think the fan base would just feel better if he got as angry as we do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, they would, because he's the representative of the team that always has to speak to the media, like you're saying. So they want him to portray what they're feeling.
Yes, exactly.
It's just not going to happen.
I agree that it probably isn't, and you have to just kind of deal with it the way it is. You talked about the starting pitching. Last year, the starters' ERA was 5.5. This year, it's under 3.8. But this lineup has just been garbage.
Yeah, they've been bad.
They averaged just over 5 hits in losing all 6 of those games on the homestand.
They're going to get a couple guys back, like you mentioned. Again, a couple of shows ago, we talked about Nueva Marte.
Yeah.
See what that does for the team.
But that's still,
when is that going to happen? That's June or something like that?
Suspension.
Yeah, I know.
It's half the year. We'll see you in July. I mean,
when did they go on that run last year? Was it in June?
It felt like the summer. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the specific date, but maybe it's coming around the corner. They got the hard part figured out, the starting pitching. Let's go. Let's go, Reds. Make it interesting. I did pick you to win the division, for God's sake.
If I'm not mistaken, Diaz has been not great for them. I guess I can go back to the stats right now.
It feels like he's been invisible. I don't remember him pitching at all. It doesn't feel like
Alexis Diaz has a 6.5. He's got 12 and a third innings pitched, 11 hits, 9 earned runs, 14 Ks, 8 walks. So that's chalk that up, to a big reason as well.
That ain't good. 10th. Producer Dan is telling us that June 10th is when they started. What was that, a 12-game run last year? Wow, 12-game winning streak. So it's right around the corner. 1 month from today.
There we go.
Buckle up, everybody. And then Reds fans will be like, that David Bell, he's awesome.
He's
Remember
the best.
When he kept those troubled waters.
He kept a calm, cool demeanor when we were struggling. That's what we need as our manager.
All right, we got your factor question of the week coming up. But first, this word from Trevor Plouffe.
If I can find it. Okay. The show is brought to you by Black Box Sports AI. It's our favorite tool to get the edge for MLB betting. I know personally that Jake Storielli uses it, and he's a big fan of this. Their system focuses on season-long betting, not one-off parlays. Don't parlay, people. Those are just not good for you. It's not designed to work overnight, but if you follow the system for the rest of the season, you'll be shocked how effective it is. So stop tailing moonshots and bet smarter with Black Box. Last year, Black Box finished up over 30 units, meaning whatever you bet, if you consistently bet, that's your unit. So if you bet $5 on a game, that means you're up $150 last year. They're hitting on 68% of their picks along the way. That was last year. This season, they're already up over 8 units, and we're only at May 10th. So they're doing a really good job. The thing I obviously appreciate and respect about them is their transparency. They're going to post their losers and their winners. Not every site does that. So Black Box AI is the tool to bet MLB smarter. Get started today by using code JOHNBOY at blackboxsportsai.com for $100 off the whole regular season subscription. That's code JOHNBOY at blackboxsportsai.com. Black Box Sports AI, smarter baseball bets.
Love it. Thank you, Plouffe. All right. Before we get out of here for the weekend, it is time right now for our factor question of the week. I want to thank everybody for sending them in. Head on over to factormeals.com/today50. If you use that code, you're going to get half off your first box plus 20% off your next month as well while your subscription is active. So go fill that belly right now. All right. Got a lot of great questions. I really appreciate it. If we didn't pick yours today, send it in again because I had a tough time nailing it down to just one, but I really thought this one was different. This is from Brandon, who said, I'm a Marlins fan living in Chicago, and sadly the Sox are my number 2 team. I'm a glutton for punishment. As a transplant in a different city than my team, is it okay to switch to an organization solely because they're the best team with the best players, like the Dodgers? Good question.
First off, I apologize for your baseball fan of the Marlins and the White Sox. That's worse than anything I've ever heard. That's worse than the Mets and the Jets.
You know what? That's not true. The Marlins have won twice since 1997. And the White Sox.
I'm just talking this year, Chris. I'm talking this year, Chris.
Yeah, that's
and
bad.
05, dude. Like that doesn't seem like that far away to me either. But that was 20 years ago. Let's relax. Who won Uribe ground ball to end the series?
Oh, very nice. I think so. That Bobby Jenks was on the mound.
To answer the question, you can root for whatever team you want at whatever time that you want. I think that's like, we need to get over that. Like, hey, my dad rooted for this team, so I got to root for this team. You're doing it to your sons, although the Guardians are that's a respectable franchise to root for. You know that. But I've never had more fun rooting for a sport than like, now that I'm done playing baseball, I like sort of root for the Twins because I work for them. I have to kind of root for them. It makes my job a lot easier. But I love just being able to watch baseball freely and pick out, hey, I'm going to watch this team today and I hope they win. It's a freeing feeling, man. So if you want to do that, go ahead. I had that in football for a few years where I was a Seahawks fan, then had a transitional period. Now I'm a Rams fan. I will say this, though. It makes it more enjoyable during the regular season to do that. But if you don't have a team in the hunt in the playoffs, then it kind of stinks. So I think his idea of rooting for the Dodgers is probably a good one.
Yeah, Brandon, I don't begrudge people, but I will tell you this. Sticking with a franchise will make you significantly tougher. I describe Cleveland sports fans as 90% scar tissue.
You do.
Right? We're not waiting to catch the next bus. We're waiting for the next one to hit us around the corner. That's what happens. And so both of our sons, Josh and Brady, Josh is 23, Brady's 18, born and raised in Los Angeles. They have maybe been to Cleveland a total of 20 times in their life. Maybe. Okay? They live and breathe it. Last night, we had the Cavs game on where we kicked ass up there in Boston and sent those fans packing with 5 minutes to go. Nice of you to stick around for the end of the game, weirdos. And then we had the Guardians game on. And that's just how we roll. I'm not saying that it's wrong for you to go choose. Believe me, it does make it more fun. But man, when you win something together, I had to wait 45 years to have experienced my first championship. 45 years. I didn't know what to do when the Cavs won in 2016. And then a couple months later, when the Guardians, then Indians, were this close to making it 2 in 4 months, I was like, huh? Like my life was changing in front of my eyes. And I don't think that would have happened if I had just bounced. People ask me when the Browns moved to Baltimore, did you go root for them? I was like, hell no. Of course I didn't.
I respect that. And I do understand the highs and the lows. Like that's a fun feeling. Mm-hmm. I was a USC football fan for quite some time. When they were good, times were great. When they were bad, it was like, what am I supposed to do on Saturday? This sucks. Mm-hmm. But there's a difference between being loyal to a city and then rooting for teams like the Marlins and the White Sox who are just not even trying. Like if your team's bad, but they're trying to win, you can get it. That's fine, dude. Like I appreciate that. But if we're getting some franchises in baseball nowadays that literally aren't trying, Chris, and I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the front office. I don't like that. So in baseball, I really believe, because the other places, there's a little bit more parity, I believe, in the sport. Here, there are teams that are really, really tanking. If you're a fan of one of those teams, I do not think you have to stick around and watch that. I don't.
I think it's a great explanation, but don't you have friends or people you know? I know people that are my age who are like, yeah, I root for the Lakers, Cowboys, and Yankees.
Oh, you're totally right. Really? That's a tough one. That's a tough one for me, Chris. You're right about that.
Really? What? Way to get out of
the thing.
In the 90s.
I feel like people who root for the Mets and the Jets almost wear that as prideful as those people.
Totally.
Like it's almost like, yeah, I root for the Jets and Mets. I know. Look at me. That's all misery, whatever. But like, I agree. I might have to change my whole answer because you just brought up like that's such a great point.
But there's not a ton of those people.
Cowboys, Lakers, Yankees. Oh my god!
When you meet those people, particularly around my age bracket, because that means that they grew up with the Showtime Lakers in the '80s, and then the Yankees in their run starting in the mid '90s, and the Cowboys winning 3 of 4 Super Bowls. Like really? Like, come on! You picked them just because they win? Like, well, whatever. You go.
You can also follow players too. If you I know plenty of people who are LeBron fans, and wherever he played, they root for that team. Mm-hmm. So you can do that as well. No one can tell you how to be a fan.
No, I'm not going to tell you how. Might criticize a little bit.
A little bit.
But Brandon, this was a great question. Got us thinking, and I'm sure everybody in the chat and in the comments section has a thought about it. So leave a comment.
If you become best friends with a quarterback that's in the NFL, you got to root for that team. Those are the rules.
That's so sweet. You guys are best friends.
And they win a Super Bowl. That's great.
And they have their own show.
They do.
Well, that could be and him.
Am I playing golf today? Maybe.
With him? How's he hit it?
He's pretty good.
I hate guys.
He's better than
I
am.
God, he's a quarterback.
He's richer than I am.
You can't be a quarterback this long in the NFL and not be good at golf. They kick you out of the quarterback fraternity. All right. This was a fun show. Thank our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented BFF of one Matthew Stafford, that is Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. Have an amazing baseball weekend. We will see you Monday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Factor.